So I noticed that they either make Yahushua black or white. He was neither one of those. And by the way, this is Christendom. That is a sundial for the worship of the sun god. So I am going to show you some scriptures because it tells you, Yahushua says, if you see me, you see the Father. And the description of the appearance of Yahushua and Yahuwah, I'm going to show you in the book of Revelation. They compare him to three stones, and those stones are red, as in the red nations. America is the old world, as you can see. This is Egypt. We were strangers in a strange land. We were sojourners, and over time we were given the land of Canaan. That's why the red and black nations, which are the Moors, were in the Americas. But we are not the same people. We do not serve the same. Yeah, we don't. Two different bloodlines. So over time again, we were given the land of Canaan. So both black and red nations were in America. So the nations of the world all started melanated. The Native Americans, even in Europe, Asia, Africa, they were all melanated. So you know how who leads into captivity goes into captivity. So the ones that led us into captivity and enslaved us were black Moors, and then the rights of the Neanderthal races took over the kingdom of the Moors and enslaved them. But the nations of the world all started melanated. I covered the bloodline of the Anunnakis, the Rh negative bloodline. This is the ruling classes. This is from the rhesus monkey bloodline, right? These are your Neanderthal. And the characteristics of them are fair skin, red hair, green or blue eyes. This scripture means red skin, ruddy or tan, not this. Images from dust. Denver, Colorado mural. And these are two of the tribal sisters, you see, the Red Nations and the Moors dead in coffins. And as you can see right here, you see the jasper stone. You see, this is more closer to our people than the black Moors. So when the colonizers came, they genocide our one people and enslave the other.
Hybrid between a snake and a human would look insane. Okay, it wouldn't look like a human. You always see these images of Nephilim everywhere on YouTube videos. It's always like really big hedge-looking, Conan the Barbarian-looking men with huge pec muscles, big long brown hair and beards, bulging biceps. It's like they're too human. That's not what they would have looked like. It's likely they would look like a mix between a reptile and a human. So let's break that down, shall we? A clown in the Western world, as we understand it, the base is white skin, red hair. That's the template, okay? Well, that, funnily enough, is the common descriptor to describe all of the Nephilim. They had porcelain white skin, and they had red hair, blood red hair, crazy shining red hair. Often it was gold as well. They have gold hair as well as another common one. But fundamentally, it was red with white skin. Even most modern encounters we have where people meet giants, the Paiute Indians of North America, for example, who had to deal with these cannibalistic giants that they had to kill and go to war with. White porcelain skin, red hair. You know, the giant of Kandahar incident is a really popular one in the circles. It was a really pale-skinned, red-haired giant. That's the base of any Nephilim creature, and I think they inherited this from Cain's lineage.
We have this association with not only clowns as being entertaining, but we associate them with certain characteristics like red hair, pale skin, as well as the blood red nose, and also certain characteristics like tricksters, mischievous, and now even we're getting this these associations between clowns being evil, both in the media and in movies. We see this concept that clowns being evil is a common theme in a lot of movies these days, as well as being tricksters and mischievous, like I said. So is there any chance that that's actually coming from somewhere or from something? And what's being put forward in this series is that this is a representation of, in some way, of the Nephilim. Now where things start getting interesting is when you start looking at the history of giants. Especially you have the mysterious cave of the redhead giants, and how many native tribes in the northeast and southwest, they still speak about legends of giants with red hair, and how their ancestors fought long and terrible wars against these giants. And you think of the Paiute Indians, who are native to parts of Nevada, Utah, and Arizona, and they would tell the white people the stories of the battles of that their ancestors had with a race of fierce giants who had pale skin in addition to red hair. So that's an interesting connection, and I think it's in the Bible in the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verse 33, where they talk about the Nephilim and their giant stature. So it is interesting that we have this association. Nephilim, pale skin, red hair. Clowns, pale skin, red hair. I don't know about them being giant, but interesting. That's an interesting point. And just thinking about red hair in general, you know, we've got these interesting ties to like these elongated skulls having red hair, and even the giant Moai statues on Easter Island having these red caps. Now, just as a point of fact, I should mention that the appearance that we sort of associate with a clown, a lot of that was developed apparently in 1801 by this person, Joseph Grimaldi. And what's referred to as the white-faced clown was originally designed by him, as I mentioned, in 1801. But the idea being put forward in this video series that I watched was, what if the inspiration behind this appearance is actually something else entirely? And he was pointing to the Nephilim. Okay, here's where things take a twist. I was reading this article talking about why do people who take DMT see these jesters and tricksters. And what I wanted to mention, and this is just an excerpt from that article, the text, but what I wanted to mention is Joe Rogan, who's got one of the most popular podcasts in the world. He actually took DMT and he ran into these jesters. And he talked about it, how they were sort of taunting him. And now in the article, it talks about how strangely these jester-type entities commonly appear in the DMT experience. So people encounter these clowns, jesters, jokers during their experiences with DMT. Now, these entities are often engaged in elaborate and mind-boggling performances and tricks. But it's not only their behavior, which is interesting, but their environment is interesting because many people find themselves in strange dimensions that resemble a circus or a carnival or a casino. So you've got these entities that people bump into who are mischievous, and they kind of act like clowns, and their environment is a circus. So what do we have obviously here? We've got the clown. Not only do we have clowns who have this, the pale skin, the red hair, all that, but they're associated with circuses. So what if what we have here in the physical is actually paying homage to these non-physical entities? Just something to think about. And the appearances, at least of these DMT jesters that people see, a lot of times, and I'm sure it varies, but a lot of times they speak about these entities having these two protrusions from their head. And also they'll see checkerboard patterns in and around, around these figures or entities. And on message boards like DMT Nexus, people talk about a lot of these strange coincidences of seeing these entities and some of the things they see. Now, in culture, there are cultures that refer to these entities as well, and you have the Hopi people and their sacred clowns. So you've got this concept, the Pueblo clowns, and they have these rituals where they dress up like jesters and tricksters, and they paint themselves with these striped patterns, and they have these headdresses with these protrusions, and you start looking at some of the figures associated with these rituals, and it looks just like these entities, these stripes, the protrusions, pale face, and you just kind of got to wonder what's going on. And then you find out the Kosher is a sacred clown of the Hopi, one that you're likely to see at the Katsina ceremonies. He is one of several clowns which are sometimes called jesters or tricksters. And they say the Koshers are sacred entities of the Pueblo world. But So you can see the protrusions, the stripes. What's put forward in the series, and I wouldn't be surprised if these are indeed real entities that are non-physical, and the Pueblos were interacting with these entities, and it's the same entities that people who take DMT are encountering, and it's not just an archetype. It's not the collective unconscious or collective consciousness, but we're talking about real entities, and their environment is very circus-like, and what we're seeing in the physical is just a recreation of that. Just sort of this weird concept. But in movies, right, we got the Mad Hatter, Alice in Wonderland, the main character, pale-faced, red hair. You had also in that movie the Red Queen, pale-faced, and I believe in the background you had this jester here figure with the pale-faced protrusions, and also, we look at McDonald's and Ronald McDonald's and the Hamburglar. They got their stripes, Ronald McDonald, obviously the clown motif, and it just makes you wonder if the influence of all this is not what we think it is. But talking about the Hamburglar and the hat, and of course you got the Mad Hatter with the hat. Just as a side note, a lot of people who have night terrors, sleep paralysis, they will talk about seeing a figure with a hat who seems to be sort of controlling the experience, and a lot of times he's wearing a flannel shirt, which sounds strange, but of course we have movie Nightmare on Elm Street. He's wearing that patterned sweater with the stripes, and he's got a hat on, so just sort of a interesting side note. But we have Beetlejuice, right? He's this pale-faced character who is a troublemaker, and he's irreverent. A lot of these same characteristics just keep popping up, and I wanted to show you a 25-second clip from this series that I saw, and it's going to be somebody who's drawing a demon, and as he's drawing it and showing it, there's a manifestation that happens in the video, and it's going to have some relation to this image that you're seeing with Beetlejuice here. So let's take a quick look at that short clip. Okay, so it's really grainy and it's low quality here, but this person's showing a drawing that he did of a demon that he saw, and as he's doing it, you got something's materializing behind him, and it looks like it's attached to him, and it's got that stripe pattern, and it's going to disappear from the camera. And I'll let this run once more, and it's sort of behind him here. You could just sort of, as he's showing this picture of a demon he drew, you sort of have something that seems to be materializing behind him. And I can't speak to the veracity of this video, but I found it pretty interesting. So I just wanted to show it with you guys.
I also know that Jewry is an Asiatic race. Is this correct?
What the fuck is going on here?
Well, we're really all over the world, but yeah, I guess you could say we started in Asia.
But wait, it gets worse.
Yes, that's right. Now, the Hebrews did not start there, and the Israelites didn't start there. You really have no bearing to be in the Hebrews or the Israelites. You are not the dispersed nations, plural, of the tribes of Jacob, who were surnamed Israel.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
Actually, the con game that you have brought on to this country and the world for many years, and it's been a good con. It's been a good con game. Is that you're allegedly God's chosen people?
Hold up. Wait a minute.
We are God's chosen people. It's just that most Jews don't like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer.
The center of all satanic pedophilia evil. And the people in the United States that they and the Zionists and others have bribed and blackmailed are part of a United Kingdom Zionist deep state, Rothschild, City of London, Synagogue of Satan, Vatican thing. But the United Kingdom, the royal family, the City of London, the Rothschilds, the satanic pedophile networks that have been trafficking in children throughout the Commonwealth, including particularly Aborigine or indigenous children, this is all stuff that needs to be crushed. Now, merchants have always owned governments. And what we've seen in modern history is governments have been manipulated to have two-party tyrannies that disenfranchise 70% of the people. They use bread and circuses to keep 70% out of it. 30% seems to be a manageable number for manipulating whatever outcome you want. Now, bear in mind, the Queen of England is actually German. And the Windsor family used to have a German name, okay? The United